Grenade launchers are the best type of weapon in the game. They've been consistently good at every aspect of the game over the years, and when I say every aspect, I mean every aspect. They're good at ad clear, dealing with champions and majors, boss DPS, and even movement. Multiple times it was to the point that almost every single build or loadout in the game had a grenade launcher in one of its slots. I wanted to make this video for a while, and I finally decided I'd do it as a tribute to my beloved Forbearance, which just got to 100k kills. Everyone cheer for me. Woo! Wow, he did it! He got kills with the easiest weapon in the game to get kills with. Yeah! On top of Forbearance being my highest kill weapon, grenade launchers in general also reign supreme over the rest of my weapons and even abilities with the sheer volume of kills I've gathered on them over the years. All that to say, this video, to me, was inevitable, and I'm glad I finally found the excuse to make it. If you enjoy this video, please share and comment. Sharing boosts the video further into the algorithm, and commenting is just enjoyable to me. I will be responding to every comment on this video, so even if you just want to call me a slur and/or failure, you will get a response. Okay, no more ado, on to the video. There are way too many grenade launchers in the game to cover in one video, so I'll be narrowing it down just a little bit by sorting all of them into archetypes and then talking about the best grenade launchers in their respective archetypes. First up, the classic lightweight frame. This frame has been around since the dawn of time and is the first thing that comes to mind when someone mentions grenade launcher. As time has gone by, this frame has become less and less common in exchange for fancier and more specialized frames, but even still, it's had its highs in the past. The first icon of this frame we'll be looking at is the Salvager Salvo. This grenade launcher redefined the meta back when it came out in Season of the Chosen and is still a solid pick today if you don't have any more modern options. The weapon has 4 set perks that you can swap between. You can tell at a glance that these 4 perks are clearly divided into 2 categories: damage and ad clear. Comboing Demo and Vorpal for a grenade heavy DPS build with lots of swaps, like Starfire Protocol back in its prime, would be that little extra edge you needed to wait out the auto-loading timer on your demo rocket and would fully push the DPS to the next level. The other 2 perks were so insane on this thing that the only way they could top it was to make a better weapon with the same perks, but we'll get to that later. Ambitious Assassin and Chain Reaction on this thing shook up the meta so much that this thing was a staple in players' inventories for a long time. The ad clear potential of shooting a powerful explosive round into a crowd of enemies, killing them, then all of their bodies exploding, killing more enemies, and then reloading and getting an extra grenade in the mag was such a powerful and fun gameplay loop that it was hard to put down. I would argue there's only one icon of this frame that can be held at the same level as Salvager Salvo, and that's the Ignition Code. This weapon burst onto the scene a few months after Salvager Salvo in the very next season of the Splicer. Players quickly found a really cool perk interaction this thing had that had never been seen before, and frankly still hasn't been topped to this day. The Ignition Code wasn't used as ad clear or boss DPS or anything similar. It was a utility weapon. It rolled with the stunning combo of blinding grenades and slide shot, making it remarkably easy to hold down an entire room of enemies and not worry about getting shot or meleeed, and your teammates could quickly pick off the blinded enemies while there was no chance of any retaliation. This was the hottest commodity in the loot pool for a lot of people, and it was certainly sought after by myself and countless others. Today, it's not quite as useful as it once was due to how strong our Guardians have become and the usefulness of blinding enemies slowly fading away. However, if there's ever a situation where blinding nades are needed, you can almost guarantee that this weapon will be filling that role exceptionally well. Next, I wanted to bring up heavy grenade launchers. Now, there are 3 different frames of heavy grenade launchers: adaptive, rapid fire, and precision. I'm opting to leave out precision frames since the last weapon added to that frame was all the way back in Season 2, and the frame hasn't ever, to my knowledge, had a use. So that leaves adaptive and rapid fire frames. I opted to combine the 2 into one category for 2 reasons. There aren't any distinct usage differences between the 2, and there aren't enough iconic heavy GLs to warrant splitting them up, so you guys get this combined category. The first heavy GL that everyone knows is the Edge Transit. It started way back in Forsaken as a meme due to how annoying it was with almost every single engram dropping it back in the day. To add insult to injury, it didn't have a single good roll, so it was just a useless drop, converted directly to legendary shards whenever it got acquired. The weapon had a triumphant return to the grenade launcher scene at the end of Season of the Wish thanks to the Onslaught activity, and boy did it ever return. The new Edge Transit was the most sought after DPS weapon at the time, with multiple strongly suited DPS roles, including your choice of auto-loading holster or envious assassin in the first column, and bait and switch or explosive light in the second column. This weapon was so powerful and easy to acquire that it found its way into every player's arsenal at the time, and was a staple of DPS for the following seasons. Another really cool role that Edge Transit had that wasn't talked about nearly as much and was nerfed at Final Shape launch was the combo of Cascade Point and Deconstruct. This thing shredded boss vehicles in the blink of an eye. I remember 0 Hour came back at the same time this came out, and this role absolutely nuked the Brig final boss of that mission. Today this weapon is still used, although sparingly, due to how many other better options are out there now. And this is one of them. At least I would argue it is. The VS Chill inhibitor took to the scene back in episode Revenant and quickly became a grenade launcher staple thanks to the help of a new perk, Envious Arsenal. This perk allowed it to shine in DPS rotations due to the lack of needing to reload, plus being able to do the exact same thing as autoloading holster, just faster if you timed it right. Its damage perks were nothing to scoff at either, with both Surrounded and Bait and Switch contending for best damage perk on this thing, especially with Enhanced Surrounded getting up to a plus 50% damage bonus in the applicable scenarios. On top of all this, it's a rapid fire frame, so it benefits from the deeper ammo reserves that come with that frame, making it a go-to for grenade launcher DPS and a staple of the heavy ammo slot for a while. Although there are technically 2 of these now, I'm only going to talk about the one micro missile frame because it's arguably the most infamous weapon in the franchise. I'm of course talking about the Mountaintop, a weapon that broke the game on release and genuinely did not leave players' hands until it was sunset and beyond light. You've all heard the story of this weapon a million times, so I won't bore you with details. Just know that this thing, both versions of it, are movement beasts in the speedrun side of the game and even to this day hardly leave players' inventories. Okay, that's all I wanted to say on them. Wave frames are the best tactical weapons to ever do it! In all actuality, these were king of the world for a long time and went through several changes over time that have led them to be almost not worth running anymore. They still hold a special place in my heart though, because Forbearance was the first weapon I ever truly grinded for, buying my guaranteed red border with spoils every week from the chest at the end since I never got a red border to drop from any other source. I was so ecstatic to get it crafted and use it that it's truly never been in my vault. It's lived in my inventory since April 12th, 2022. I won't stall this part any longer, just wanted to pay homage to my favorite weapon in the video that I made for it. Martyr's Retribution is one of those guns that I know is good, but really haven't ever used. I wasn't playing back in Season of the Dawn, so I never got the hype of using the first wave frame when it was new. And it was never available for me to use again until they brought it back in episode Echoes with a killer loot pool, including your choice of Demolitionist or Heal Clip in the first column and Incandescent in the second column. Despite how good of a combo this is, I don't think I've ever seen anyone use it, in person or on YouTube. Maybe I'll revisit it in the future for another video. Okay, on to the meat of this video, Forbearance. I know this is like the 4th time I've mentioned this gun already, but it really deserves it. It's my favorite weapon of all time, nothing beats it for me, and I've reached a point where I'd really just become one with the gun. Not that it's a hard gun to use, many people enjoy it because of how easy it is, and I agree with them. It's easy, fun, and gets the job done. Ambitious Assassin and chain reaction on this thing is still really, really good now, but you have to understand how incredibly game-breaking this was back in the day. Nothing could top it. People were saying it's better than Trinity Ghoul. It is, and I stand by that. People were saying it's practically an exotic, and it really did feel like one back in the day. Personally, I was heartbroken when Bungie announced that Forbearance was going to be in the Onslaught loot pool, and that's due to me being extremely petty. But I digress. I just felt like all my 5 weeks of hard work to get the red border by grinding out the full raid, it really didn't feel like work, I love that raid, and all the countless hours I've spent using it were poured down the drain just for people to get the exact same weapon with an arguably better origin trait at a minute fraction of the effort. It worked out though because I ended up liking the Valve the Disciple origin trait better than the Onslaught origin trait for most of my builds. Is that coping? I don't know. Needless to say, the fact that Bungie even chose to include Forbearance in the Onslaught arsenal means that they see it as an iconic weapon. And it is. It just feels crazy that I lived through a weapon that's now considered iconic. And not only that, but it's also my highest kill weapon by a lot. I'd also like to add that I've never farmed any kills with this thing. All 100k kills and however many levels are all natural and come from 3+ years of playing the game. This next subgenre of grenade launcher is the second newest type of frame to come out. Its first adaptation was from the dungeon that came out in Season of the Seraph. Any guesses? Starts with a W. Cowboy Dungeon? Welder Flight was the first ever double fire grenade launcher to be introduced into the game, and it hit the sandbox with a splash. Not a huge splash, but a splash nonetheless. Players quickly picked up on this built for damage rotations weapon and stuck it into their vaults for usage down the line. This frame coming out was practically the final nail in the coffin to the lightweight frame GLs out there, what with the double fire GLs simply just doing more damage per shot. Double fire GLs are the go-to special GLs for raw damage output. When Welder Flight came out, its best damage perk was arguably Vorpal Weapon, but even that was better than any other swap option at the time. Welder Flight later came back with an updated perk pool that included Bait and Switch and Envious Arsenal to make the weapon the best damage rotation machine it could be. although with damage metas constantly changing, while their flight and other double fire frames fluctuate in and out of the spotlight frequently. Next is the frame of grenade launcher that came into the scene hot, the area denial frame, which launched a little over a year ago to instant success in all aspects of the game, and we've been getting a new one every season since. Lost Signal was the first of these weapons to hit the ground running, and despite its seemingly lackluster perk pool, it more than made up for it in every other aspect. That's not to say it has a bad perk pool. Actually, it's pretty solid with combos like auto-loading holster and demo or feeding frenzy and one for all. I just think the perk pool isn't as flashy as most weapons these days tend to be, which I frankly see as a good thing. This weapon was used in all content, from patrol to grandmasters, lost sectors to day one raids. This thing is one of the most versatile weapons in recent Destiny history and continues to remain as an inventory staple for most players. VS Velocity Baton is the only other area denial frame that comes close to matching the Freak of Lost Signal. In fact, I'd argue it conquered the Freak bar set by Lost Signal due to the crazy perks it could roll and the fact it was void and could get volatile rounds. The run this weapon had was generational. Everyone and their mother was farming for this thing. People were stocking up on rolls of this thing for episode heresy like their lives depended on it. And to be fair, I was farming too. I must have cleared that first encounter of Vesper's Host about 200 times over the last 2 weeks of episode Revenant looking for the perfect roll, and I never got it. There were two things that people wanted on this thing: the combo of Repulsor Brace and Destabilizing Rounds, and the combo of Demo and Attrition Orbs. Attrition Orbs was so busted with this thing back in the day, it was like an instant super generator in a lot of builds. Repulsor / Destabilizing was nothing to scoff at either. That thing could really pack away some ads in the blink of an eye, and in its prime during episode Heresy, it shredded even harder with the help of mods that boosted Volatile and Weaken. That sums up all the frames of grenade launchers in the game currently. Although at the rate we're going, I wouldn't be surprised if we got another new one sometime soon. Naturally, I didn't cover every grenade launcher, otherwise this video would be about 2 hours long, but hopefully the 10 I did choose to cover were a broad enough overview to entertain you. But don't worry, we're not done with the grenade launchers yet. There are 10 exotic grenade launchers in the game, and some of them are top 10 Destiny weapons of all time, both in iconicness and gameplay swagger. The way I'm going to do this is to divide them up into 4 tiers and start at the lowest and work my way up to discuss the best exotic grenade launcher in the game. Okay, tier 4 exotic grenade launchers. These are some of the worst exotics out there. And before I get some defense like, oh, we got buffed back in meh, it still sucks. To nobody's surprise, Colony is down here at the bottom of the barrel. This thing is just so utterly useless these days that I don't know how to bring it back from the brink. I'm sure there's some fun patrol or solo ops builds with this thing, but it's just not worth wasting the exotic and heavy slot on this thing just to kill a few ads and maybe a major. I do think the idea of it is cool and it works better in PvP, but even then, 2 ants to kill someone, unless they changed that, is still not making this thing have any play. Overall, 1 out of 10 exotic. Prospector is better than Colony for sure, but not by much. At least Prospector has had substantial buffs over time to keep it near the baseline for good DPS weapons. It's still really fun to use, what with its unique animation and cool Text Mechanica vibe plus exotic trait that gives you a bit more control over the outcome of the weapon's destruction. No matter what they do to this weapon, it will never be as fun as it once was. Being able to pop a bubble, shoot 8 Prospector shots into the ground, and then blowing yourself into the stratosphere is still an unmatched feeling, and it's a tragedy that they took that out of the game. This is for sure a better weapon than Colony, but not by much. 3 out of 10 exotic. Okay, last one in tier 4 or C tier. It's the classic heavy GL that everyone dogs on for being crap. It's the Salvation's Grip! This thing has lived through some low highs and even lower lows, but still managed to find its niche in the movement / out of bounds community who use it to scale walls and explore out of bounds, or used it to res breach and get to hard to reach areas. In the common game though, this thing never really shone. They changed it a while back to shoot actual grenades, but that didn't help it in the slightest, and it still remained just as insignificant to the casual player as it always has. And if I'm not mistaken, still continues to do so. I think it's still a cool idea and has potential to be good, plus its synergy with stasis builds is cool, but even still, 4 out of 10 exotic. Okay, on to tier 3, the B tier. These exotics are slightly higher on the radar and live in more and more players' inventories, but still aren't good enough to be well known or meta. The first of these weapons is the Dead Messenger, the first and only exotic waveframe grenade launcher. It's a really solid weapon, I'm not gonna lie. It's just so lackluster compared to everything else in the sandbox and is honestly beaten out by Forbearance in terms of ad clear capabilities, which frankly is all this thing is good for, ad clearing. The biggest problem with this weapon isn't that it's not good at its job. The problem is that there are so many things that just do its job better without having to take up an exotic or even special ammo slot. It's still a solid pick, especially if you want to easily ad clear in low to mid tier content. I'm thinking 5 out of 10. Fighting Lion is one of those weapons that has never really been on my radar, and despite the buffs that have stacked on top of it over the years, I've never once wanted to use it. When I first started playing this game 4 to 5 years ago, the only use this thing had was to spam corridors and be annoying in PvP. Now the only use it has is to sit in the vault and rot. I'm not saying the changes made to the weapon were bad, I think they were a step in the right direction. I just think that even at max potential, the weapon is still too bad for me to warrant learning its playstyle. This is another 5 out of 10 exotic. Sorry, Fighting Lion fans. Finally, onto some good guns. The A tier is full of weapons that have secured their own comfortable niche in the sandbox and see no fear of being beaten out for their respective jobs. The first of these weapons is the Parasite, an exotic heavy grenade launcher that actually is worth filling up your exotic slot. When this thing first released way back in the Witch Queen expansion, people were skeptical of its ability to be a good weapon, but after they saw its full potential with a couple weeks time after release, we soon came to realize, hey, this thing is pretty good. It's by no means the most versatile weapon in the game, but it has its place in the sandbox and is used in everything from speedruns to grandmasters. I personally love this thing and have used it quite a bit since launch. It's one of my favorites, so this score may be a bit biased, but I think it's deserving of an 8 out of 10 due to no other weapon doing anything like it, plus it actually being pretty useful. This weapon isn't as useful as Parasite, but I still wanted to put it in A tier due to its uniqueness and synergy with the exotic hunter gauntlets the Mothkeeper wraps. I'm of course talking about the X-Dearest, an exotic grenade launcher that launched into the meta during Season of the Witch and quickly gained a cult following due to it being designed to feel like a hive boomer cannon. On top of this, it had the function of making the little moss that the hive used to shield themselves. This weapon really made you feel like Batman. I mean, a hive knight. And that fantasy made it so appealing to so many players, including myself. Paired with the Mothkeeper wraps, this exotic was truly a beast though. For both ad clear and major melting, this thing dominated the season it came out in and didn't leave a single player out of its hype. Such a cool exotic, 8 out of 10 for sure. Another exotic that I think is so cool but not quite game defying enough to be an S tier is, Alethionym? Alethonium? Alethonium. This thing is admittedly a bit more of a sleeper pick, but its movement abilities are unmatched. At least I think so. I only picked this weapon up when I was going for a sub 40 solo flawless clear of Sundered Doctrine on Warlock and needed to get fast traversal sections. And it helped. I got really good at using this weapon and now it doesn't leave my inventory. Really good. I have it on standby for whenever a movement opportunity comes up. The rest of this weapon's perks aren't horrible either, and I'll talk about them in a second, but if it wasn't for the mountaintop-esque movement capabilities, this thing would not be an A tier. Its perks have helped me out in a few situations where I'm short on ammo, it's just never in my mind that it can do that. I think just as a base weapon, it's an infinitely better primary ammo grenade launcher than Fighting Lion, and frankly, I enjoy it casually in lower end content a lot. I think it's fun to shoot, and it has a good feel to it. Plus the ammo generating aspects comes in extra handy when you're dealing with a bigger target, so it doesn't feel like I waste anything when I shoot this thing. All in all, it's one of my favorite exotics, mostly for movement, and I recommend that people pull this thing back out to try and use it again. You could have a fun time in Destiny 2. I know that's a foreign concept to Destiny 2 players, but you really could have a fun time. 8 out of 10 exotic. Now on to some of the best weapons ever added to Destiny 2, the S tier exotic grenade launchers. These weapons have both defined and then redefined metas over the years and still remain nearly untouchable in what they do. These weapons are both Swiss Army knives of the Destiny sandbox and are the kind of weapon that builds are both made around or just included in because it rounds everything out. These weapons continue to remain at the top of the food chain and show no signs of leaving. I'm of course talking about the Sadi Yall Smart Bomb Heavy Grenade Launcher and the Present Fleet Special Grenade Launcher from the hit game Destiny Rising. Nah, just kidding, you just got Destiny Rising pranked. I'm kidding, I'm talking about Anarchy and Witherhoard. I know I just said all that stuff gassing up these weapons, but Anarchy is nowhere near the level of fame it once was. Back in the day, this thing never left players' inventories. In fact, it barely left the heavy slot. It was meta for everything, bosses, ad control, nightfalls, and literally anything else. But these days, it's a bit more of a rare find. It's not entirely due to the nerfs this thing got, because it didn't hit this thing to too much of an effect, but rather I think it's because of the oversaturation of options these days. There are so many weapons in the game that interact in so many different ways with so many different builds that it's hard to settle on any one choice and instead just keep cycling through weapons. This is true for any one weapon, but it feels particularly hurtful for Anarchy due in part to its lack of subclass compatibility and due to another part to most people wanting to run a special or primary exotic for their build and leave the heavy slot open to whatever the busted legendary weapon is that season. Anarchy has reached the point in its lifespan where it's now considered a niche weapon and is only used in certain encounters or activities. That's not to say it's bad now, it's just been beat out by a larger market. It's still a classic and deserves to be taken for a spin every once in a while. So go take it for a spin, guys. Get this weapon up on the charts. It's a 9 out of 10 exotic. Let's make it 10 again. Last and certainly not least, probably the furthest thing you can get from least, other than Forbearance, it's the weapon you've been waiting for me to talk about all video, the Witherhoard. This thing is a classic in every sense of the word. It's been around for a while and is beloved by all. It's a jack of all trades, master of all trades weapon, and the only thing keeping it away from having a constant spotlight is people are just kind of bored of it. Also, it's not incredibly broken. I'd argue it's the most perfectly balanced weapon in the game. It's never too broken or too bad and is always a good option to have for you or your fire team in all content. Just the balancing fact that multiple wither hordes can't work on the same target unless one is on the floor and one is on the actual target is a perfect balancing idea. Like, they didn't nerf the weapon's power at all, remove something in the game. It's just a really good choice to balance the weapon out. I'm a huge fan of it, especially because beforehand you could stack 6 people shooting wither hordes on this guy and it would insta kill bosses. So they had to do something, and this is the best possible option. So I'm a big fan of this. I don't really have much else to say on this topic other than wither horde rocks and has been one of my favorite weapons since I started playing the game 4 years ago, and it is also my highest kill weapon behind Forbearance. 10 out of 10 exotic, no questions asked. Definitely up there on best weapons of all time that I've ever played with in any video game. If you made it this far, you had to have enjoyed the video. So please give it a like and comment. Definitely share. For sure take a shower. Maybe quit Destiny 2. Go appreciate your girlfriend, 100%. Oh, subscribe. That's a big one. Thank you guys so much again for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.